Welcome back to the Marching to Madness College Basketball Podcast with one of my favorite guests. You know him. He's been on here several times. Coach Sonny Smith. He's the head basketball coach at East Tennessee State, Auburn, and Virginia Commonwealth. He led Auburn to 5 straight NCAA tournaments. He got to the Elite Eight in the mid-'80s with the Tigers, and then he went to VCU, and like Auburn, Sonny put VCU into the NCAA tournament for the first time. Coach, welcome back.
Oh, thank you, Ken. Glad to be with you, my friend.
Oh, yeah, it's always a pleasure for me to be with you, too. You know, I remember working your basketball camps at VCU, and you know, that's back when I was coaching basketball. I feel like I should have just been more aggressive and said, "Hey, Sonny, I need a job coaching basketball."
If you'd done that, I might have hired you. You never know.
Yeah,
Hey,
you never know.
You love the game of basketball. That's the kind of guy I need working for me.
Yeah, I still do. You know, and big thing there was I always enjoyed watching your teams play, and I would have totally. I love the running game and the
Yes.
pressure and that type stuff. I mean, to me, that's basketball.
Well, I liked it because I thought that's the way players wanted to play.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think they wanted to play at a total half court game. I thought they wanted to mix the run in with half court. I thought it was the best way to get a player to play would be to play the way that he wanted to play. And
Sure.
pretty much that worked for us for a long time. And very rarely did you ever see a kid, unless he was slow or something, want to play a half court game. They all
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be able to run with the ball and play the half court game. And that's the way we did it over 47 years, I guess.
47 years. Wow. Hey, as you look at the Auburn Tigers this year,
47 years, a long time.
47 years, that's a great time. It was a great career for you. And I know you're still on the Auburn radio network. So I think the Tigers are underrated right now. Number 22 in the country. They're 11-2. They've played very well overall and finding ways to prevail in tough situations. The two teams that beat them, Memphis and USC, have really good basketball programs.
This is a basketball team that's going to get better as they go. They're a team that's young, had not played together that long, and they're getting used to one another. They had to incorporate their abilities into Coach Pearl's style of play. They're getting better at that every game. They went from being basically a 3-point shooting team into a good post-up game to go with it with Broome playing, and so now they've certainly always been a good defensive ball club under Bruce all year. But they finally have got together a mixture of the half-court game with the 3-point shooting and the post play into being a pressing, running type of team that's really exciting to watch. And I think the good is ahead of them. And I think they're going to get better as they go along. I don't know where they're going to end up in the SEC because it's going to be a good year in the SEC. A lot of balance from top to bottom. And I think that they're going to be in there somewhere and play for an NCAA chance.
That's good. That's good. You know, Coach Pearl's one of my favorites in the business, and he's so well versed in all the facets of coaching. So, as you look at Coach Pearl and what he's done at Auburn, talk a little bit about overall as you've watched the Tigers grow into a national power.
Bruce Pearl's he's a total package. He's a guy that players love to play for. He's the kind of guy that fits his system to the players, and the players enjoy playing the way he wants to play. He's the kind of guy that is great in a home when he goes into a recruit. He's sincere, he's believable, and he's got a great mind for the game of basketball. He fits into this community tremendously. He's made basketball fans at Auburn that are basically a lot of them are just football fans. We're not big basketball fans. And he fills this arena every night. And when they come, they know what they're going to get. They're going to get great effort. They're going to get great defense, and they're going to shoot the ball. They're going to shoot the three, and that's his play is exciting to watch. Plus, it's a winning way too.
Winning way, yeah. Hey, did you ever have a player who played it with as much tenacity and toughness as KD Johnson?
He's got a way about him. When he goes into the game, they bring him off the bench now, and not because he's a bench player. They bring him off to give him that boost, that urge to play harder as he comes into the court, and he'll take over a game. He can score on a drive to the basket. He can hit the outside shot. He gets all over his man defensively, and he's becoming a much better passer. So he's the kind of guy that everybody would like to have on their team because of all the things that he can do.
Coach, we mentioned KD, but the depth of this guard lineup is as good as you can find in the country. You know, you have KD, you have Wendell Green Jr., Zep Jasper, Alan Flanagan, and now Trey Donaldson stepping up.
They've got a solid starting five. They've also got a good bench, a deep bench. It'll go four deep, and sometimes five deep. You can almost play two different teams at one time and still be effective and still be competitive. You've got a team that fits his style of play, and if they don't, he'll fit the Bruce Pearl will fit the style of play to them. You know, he can go from a half-court game to being a full court running with everything. He can go from being a very good man-for-man team to a zone team.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. I don't know what's going on with the Wi-Fi in your bitch. It doesn't like you and me. It thinks we're two bad referees.
You still on the referees. I can see that already.
Yeah,
hey,
I'll be
that the one phase of the game of basketball that has really changed. Used to, referees were talked about more than the game. They were talked about more than sometimes the players. Very rarely do you hear people talk about the officials anymore. I think they have become as consistent as officials can be. You're going to get some difference at one night and that, but basically officiating has gotten better. And officiating has made the game of basketball better. I remember after a game that we would play when I was coaching in college, we'd go home and talk about the referees half the night, you know. But now, very rarely, sometimes you don't even know the names of the guy after the game's over. You don't even think about them. Yeah. And the reason I think so, Ken, is I think they're officiating better than they used to. It's not that they were crooked, but their ways of officiating has become so consistent with one another that they call the game the same. So you go on the road, you're going to get the same kind of game call that you used to get home. And away it would not be as good, but it's not that way anymore.
We were talking about having five guards and Trey Donaldson stepping in the middle there.
He has a number of minutes, Bruce Pearl does, that he plays people. And it has taken some of them a while to step in. He will start the game and let guys play, 2 or 3 guys play for 3 minutes or 4. And then he'll take them out and put 3 others in. He's got amount of time that he thinks that they can be really effective. And then he takes those people out. He's figured out with his system of play how to use players and who is more effective at certain periods of a game or how much amount of time that they play. I think he's one of the better guys that I've seen managing his playing time of his players.
I love the way Jalen Williams has been playing. He's made himself into, a serious threat. In the last 5 games, he's gotten 12.8 points, 5.5 rebounds per game.
Ken, he's the kind of guy that doesn't demand the ball. If he would demand the ball, as big-time scorers generally do, I think he would be the leading scorer on the team with more of an average than he has right now. But he is satisfied to play the way that they're using him, playing for a certain amount of time, take him out, and then bring him back in. But he doesn't demand the basketball. He doesn't. He gets open, and I don't know. he doesn't really work to get open, but if he really had worked to get the ball, I think he could be close to a 20-point score. He's an unbelievably accurate shooter in the post play, in the post area. And he's got to the point where he can step away from the basket and make a catch and shoot three. And that's made him into a double figure scorer. And I think that I think that he's going to remain there.
Yeah. Coach Johnny Broom in that post as well. His play inside, what part of his game do you see has improved maybe most since the season started?
Movement without the basketball is number one. He didn't demand the ball. He didn't move enough to get the basketball. He's not doing that. And quick as he gets the ball, he gets into a move. Early in the season, he was a catch and look type of player. Now he's a catch and move type of player, and he's making moves to the basket with his right hand or his left. And he's now scoring because he's more aggressive. And the aggressiveness that he's playing with has made this team a better team, because now they got inside out action. And the backup postman's an unbelievably shot blocker, but he's not a scorer. So they got to get to scoring out of Janai Broom, and he's doing it right now, doing it very, very well.
I mean, I remember him last year when he averaged a double-double, at Morehead State, I mean, which is always in a tough Ohio Valley conference.
It's one of the toughest conferences from a standpoint of competition within the conference. It's not rated as high as the competition level in that league is. That's a tremendous league, the Ohio Valley. And he comes out of that, and he was a dominant player there. And I can tell you right now, if he keeps moving without the ball and making moves with the ball once he gets it, he's going to become a scorer in the double figure range and a rebounder close to that. He's also an excellent shot blocker.
Hey, Coach, as you look at the SEC this season, could this be potentially the deepest this league's ever been in years and years? I don't have a number.
I don't think it's going to be great from top to bottom, but I think it's going to be balanced. I think it's going to be awfully tough to win anywhere away from home. I think it's going to be that kind of league. And it's not a league, in my opinion, where you have haves and have-nots. I think you got a bunch of haves, and it's just, what is going to depend on the league is going to depend on who can win games on the road. If you can go out there and if you can hold your own at home and go out on the road and win some games, I think that's where the winner's going to come from. And even Kentucky, to everybody before the season starts, will always pick them first or second or third without a doubt. Well, they're not even in that mix right now. So they got to play themselves into that position. And I don't think there's anybody in the league that doesn't have to play their way in right now. Tennessee's playing awfully good. That's one team that I would really be afraid of. We just played Florida. Florida played extremely well at home against us here at Auburn. So I think the teams that can go on the road and win are the teams that are going to be end up at the top of the league. And Auburn's one of those that'll be a threat.
Now, Todd Golden in Florida is one of Bruce's former assistants, and I think he was at Auburn 2 years. He's building himself around Colin Castleton, as a big man. And then he brought in some really nice guard play.
Well, the transfer portal has made everybody even stay where they were or go higher. The transfer portal has really not hurt anybody to go down. And I think that has been the way of recruiting this past season, and I think will be for years to come. Get a player that's experienced, get a player that's stronger, older, and I think he's going to fit right into your system quicker than a freshman coming in. So I'm anxious to see how the transfer portal is going to change basketball, and I think it's going to change it. I really do.
Would you have loved to have had the transfer portal and the NIL?
No, I think I'd love to have the NIL. The transfer portal, I'd be afraid I couldn't hang on. Usually when a coach back in the day, and that's because I'm so old. Back in the day, you had a system and you recruited to the system. Well, today you got to fit your system around the players because it maybe only be with you 1 year.
Yeah.
So it's a different type of coaching that's taking place. And I think I would like it, but I would like it to be in a situation where you can hang on players more. Used to you get a junior college player, kept him 2 years. This year you get a junior college player, he may go on to another school in 1 year. So you got to make your system to where it's a 1 year deal, and you got to fit in the next system that comes in. So they say, well, his style of play. Well, his style of play these days depends on how you do in a transfer portal.
That may come to a situation where college basketball has to have one more coach, on the bench.
I hadn't thought about that because what it is. You always have it. Here's the way it used to work. You had one assistant that was pretty much like a head coach. He sit beside you and you work through things together. The other assistants were assigned defense, offense, recruiting, those type of things. And I think today, because of people coming and going, you got to have recruiters. You really need to have recruiters from all the way down. And I think you got to involve all of them in some phase of the coaching. And I think has not been done as much as it's fixing to be. Transfer portal, coach them because they're going to be gone quick. Coach them different, and I think coaching is changing because of that. The head coach, he doesn't have to say, "Well, I got to get him on a weight program so he get better next year." Well, you got to get him now that's ready this year. There's not much of that next year stuff because of the transfer portal. They may be gone. A good year, maybe a guy will be out and gone. A bad year, a kid may be out and gone for a different reason. So I think you're going to see more movement in college basketball today than you have. And I don't know if it's good or not. We're going to see.
Last thing, Coach, as you look at the season right now, how do you think the college basketball season is different now than it was 10 years ago?
Well, years ago, you'd bring in a freshman and you bring him along, get him playing well for you as a junior or senior. Today, you got to bring him in that's ready to play immediately because of the people leaving with the transfer portal the way they do. So you got to get ready-made players immediately.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow this kid. He's a really good player, but he's not ready. I'll bring him in and let him sit the first year, and I'll get him in there for the next year, that type of thing. I don't think you see that as much. You're looking to get a guy now that can play because he may be just with you only 1 year. That's my way of looking at it. Now, that might not be the way it's going to be, but that's what I'm looking at it that way.
Coach Sonny Smith, Auburn, VCU, East Tennessee State. Anywhere else we need to mention, Coach?
No, when I got into coaching, I wanted to be an assistant in different areas of the country. The reason I wanted to do that was to make myself known in areas that I could go anywhere and recruit. So when I got into coaching my first year at William and Mary, I recruited all over the country because at William and Mary you had to have students first and basketball players second, and we did pretty good at that. I left there and went to Pepperdine. In Pepperdine, we were the third best school in the city, and we had to get players from all over the country. So that gave me the opportunity to recruit players from the East Coast to come all the way to the West Coast, and that helped me as a recruiter. And then I went to Virginia Tech, which is a school that is known, and it was not a football school. It was a sports school. Football is good, your basketball is good, your baseball is good, and that set me up for my first chance to be a head coach. So I felt good about all the places that I coached because it opened up recruiting to me in all areas of the country.
Coach Sonny Smith, thanks a lot, my friend. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, Ken, all you got to do is call me. Just don't call me Collect. I'll be on your show anytime.
Yeah, I need a per diem to call you.
It's in the mail. Check's in the mail. I know. Thanks for having me on, Ken.